monologue is based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience with a man. Because he liked to look at it. This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath with salt grains from the Dead Sea, Katy Perry playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression and hatred of the patriarchal culture. It isn't real. Pussies unite! Yeah, I know all of it. Like, if we'd grown up in a culture where we were taught fat thighs were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down millions of milkshakes and sprinkles cupcakes. You know, lying on our backs, spending our days thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs, and I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it and from that moment on wished I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture. Cozy futons with light cotton comforters, little accent tables, papas-on chairs, or other things. Cashmere sweaters, quilted pot holders, or snow cone makers. Yeah, I got so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of having a vagina. So whenever a man was inside me, I pictured him inside a mink-lined muffler. Or a Chinese lantern. Then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I had ever met. He was thin and tall and nondescript and wore khaki tan clothes. Bob did not like spicy foods or listen to Prince. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He didn't share his inner feelings, he didn't have any problems or issues, and he wasn't even an alcoholic. He wasn't very funny, or articulate, or mysterious. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up my change that I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I had sex with him. And that's actually when the miracle occurred. So it turned out Bob loved vaginas. Okay, he was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, the way they tasted, the way they smelled, but most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to look at them. The first time we had sex, he told me he had to see me. Right here, I said. No, you, he said. I have to see you. Turn on the light. There's light right here, I said, thinking he's a weirdo and like freaking out in the dark. Turned on the light. Then he said, I'm ready. Ready to see you. Right here. I'm right here. Then he began to undress me. Whoa, what are you doing, Bob? I said. I need to see you, he replied. No need, I said. Just do it. I need to see what you look like, he said. But you've seen a red leather couch before, I said. Bob continued. He wouldn't stop. I wanted to throw up and die. This is really awfully intimate. I said, can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I need to look. I held my breath. He looked. And looked. He got breathy and his face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a hungry beast. You are so beautiful, he said. You're elegant and deep and innocent and wild. I'm sorry, you saw that there? I said, it was like you read my palm. I saw that, he said, and more. Much, much more. He stayed looking for almost an hour, as if he were studying a map, observing the moon, staring into my eyes, but it was my vagina. And in the light, I watched him looking at me, and he was so genuinely excited, so peaceful and euphoric that I began to get wet and turned on. I I began to see myself the way he saw me, began to feel beautiful and delicious like a great painting or a waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out, you know? I began to swell, began to feel proud, began to love my vagina. And Bob lost himself there. And I was there with him, in my vagina. And we were gone.